All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Gordon in the Morning, where we kickstart your day with an energy boost and insight, ideas to help you maximize your impact, your influence, and your income. And today is Wednesday, and I'm winging it on this Wednesday. And fittingly, we are going to talk about the power of winging it. Now, look, I know what you're probably thinking. Winging it, isn't that really just code for being unprepared? Well, not exactly. In this case, I did not take the time to prepare a full script for the show. I didn't come up with a quote, a famous quote, and affirmation. Frankly, because yesterday was a crazy busy day. I got home, I was exhausted, and I just didn't feel like putting in the energy. But it doesn't mean I'm unprepared. Winging it, when done right, is really kind of an art form of its own. It's like trusting your instincts, adapting on the fly, improvising, and sometimes even thriving in situations where preparation just isn't possible. I mean, think about it. The improv, the acting school and comedy venue has been a famous thing. The Groundlings have done improv for years. And you think about that show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? How funny can things get when people show up prepared to improvise, but they don't have a definite plan of where things are going. What they have is a set of techniques and strategies. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So maybe you've faced things about winging it a little bit before. You get a sudden curveball at work, or a client meeting that goes sideways, or a creative project veering off track. The truth is, learning how to wing it confidently can be one of the most important and powerful skills we can develop. And today I'll break down a little bit about how you can do that. So, look, the myth is that it's possible to prepare perfectly every time. But actually, preparation is important, but we should be preparing all the time. And being prepared means being ready, willing, and able to wing it. And, in fact, over preparing can sometimes backfire on us, because then we get sort of set in our ways and tunnel vision on how we think things are supposed to go, or how we expect them to go or want them to go. And then when things do go off the rails a little bit or a lot, it becomes much harder for us to adapt and overcome. Too much structure can actually kill creativity and authenticity. Sometimes the absence of structure is what leads to the most exciting energy and entertaining content or whatever else. And so, really, we need to go into what we're doing with a mindset of improvisation, a mindset that gets us ready to improvise. And that means, first off, having confidence, being comfortable with the idea that, hey, I am already well prepared. I know everything I need to know. Or if you don't know, then you acknowledge that, but you have what it takes to adapt in the moment and crank something out like I'm doing today. So how do you build that confidence and trust yourself in that moment? Well, practice. Practice is the best way to get yourself ready. Is put yourself in situations where you haven't always thought through everything that's going to happen. And actually, we all do that all the time in our social lives. You don't prepare for every encounter with a friend or a colleague or a spouse or a family member. You go into the situation and you address what happens and deal with what comes your way. And most of the time, things work out fine. Yes, you might put your foot in your mouth. So I guess one of the things to do to prepare is to have a plan for accepting that you've screwed up, or that you've gone sideways with something, and bringing things back into focus and alignment with where you're going. And hello there, Web3V. This is my show. I do this every morning. When Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., I go live with Gordon in the Morning, and I share some inspiration and things like that. Today we're talking about winging it, and how sometimes improvising and working without a script, without a net, is an important strategy and something that we really ought to do. So build up the confidence to trust yourself in the moment. We encounter moments all the time where we don't have a script or a roadmap or a plan, and we do fine with it. So being ready for that is important. And another approach to just sort of being comfortable with this idea is always just having in mind, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen mentality? I mean, here I am improvising, talking to a camera. What's the worst thing that could happen? I might embarrass myself a little bit. It wouldn't be the first time. It won't be the last time. And what's the worst thing? Nobody's going to reach through the camera and punch me in the nose or anything like that. And, the worst thing that could happen is a little embarrassment, maybe, a little chagrin for a little bit, and I'll move on and I'll show up again tomorrow and I'll do it again. And practice improves our performance. So a few little strategies for winging it like a pro. Like I said, practice, practice, practice. Anchor yourself with core knowledge and experience. That's the long-term preparation that I was referring to, being ready, willing, and able to step into situations, whether you have a roadmap or a plan or a script prepared, is tremendously confidence building, and it is also great for your image, your charisma. In fact, I would say that's sort of what charisma can be. Mastering the skill of active listening and adapting in real time is another great strategy. When you're listening to what the other person or the other parties in a conversation are saying, you can then adapt. When you're constantly thinking and preparing for what you're going to say next, you could miss important facts or nuance or background. There's all kinds of stuff. So it's really important to be listening and adapting in real time, not overthinking, overplanning, and overstructuring what you're going to do. Of course, working within a structure is always good as well. The storytellers often rely on a multi-part structure that is actually articulated, I guess you could say, described in Conrad's book, The Hero of a Thousand Faces, and you see it over and over again. The arc of a story, the journey in which the reluctant hero finds himself in a situation, finds a guide, goes on a quest, adapts, accomplishes, accumulates, accomplishes, and comes back as the hero. And having that structure for storytelling makes storytelling just a little bit easier. After all, what is storytelling? Fiction writing is improvisation, isn't it? Right? It's not winging it exactly, but so you wing it within a structure. Another important approach is embracing humor, vulnerability, and storytelling to connect with your audience. And speaking of connecting with the audience, I would love to hear from you if you're watching live or on replay. I'd love to just hear your thoughts about this, and if you've caught me making any faux pas or mistakes or too much umming and ahhing. Embrace the humility and the vulnerability, and use storytelling to connect with that audience, and just allow it to be fun. Now, there are some situations where you should not wing it. One should not perform surgery if they've never been taught how to perform surgery. One should probably not go into an important negotiation or an important court proceeding or hearing or something like that without having a pretty good sense of where you want things to go and how you're going to get them there. But even then, being ready to improvise and adapt is important. But don't wing it on the most important stuff if you can avoid it. The trick is understanding and knowing what's important and when preparation is really a non-negotiable, right? So it's a matter of finding a balance, I would say, between planning and improvisation, but most importantly, being ready and willing to improvise if you need it. So I have a little challenge for you. Like I said, we're not doing any quote of the day or any affirmation or anything like that, but a little challenge for you for this week, encouraging you to intentionally step into a moment where you trust yourself to wing it, and then reflect on the results. Or think back on a time recently when you've found yourself needing to wing it, and how it's worked out for you. My guess is that it never works out as badly as we fear it's going to when we're concerned about it leading up to the moment. But in any event, this has been me winging it. I promise it won't always be me winging it, but I just thought I'd give this a try. And since I came in here without a plan and a script, I thought, okay, I'll make a few notes. And that's what I've done. So you can see that just even a minute of preparation makes winging it feel much more comfortable. And that's going to be it for this episode of Gordon in the Morning. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you on the flip side. Tomorrow is Thursday. We'll do gratitude, Thankful Thursday, and head into the weekend with Friday, a fun on a Friday episode. And anyway, so that's it for this Winging It Wednesday. Have a great day.